Right, so the next feature we'll look at is going to be the status effect system, right? So while there are potions in the game and they do give a ton of different effects, right? There's like 30 or some. I have also created my very own status effects as part of mainly a brewing system, right? So we do have a multi-block structure here, a wax refinery, which looks kind of odd. I might change the brewing stand up top. Along with that, we need some other things. We have a boiling cauldron, and we also have a grinding station, right? So what is this system? Basically, it is, again, a new form of brewing. You start off by grinding up any plants you come across, right? So, for instance, we'll do a mushroom and a wither rose, right? That gets us red paste. And the wither rose gets us grey paste. Yeah, grey paste, right? And you can then brew these pastes in a boiling cauldron, right, with some honeycomb to form wax. And the waxes then lead to all the different status effects that I created for the pack, right? So we get a wax ball with a color combination of red and gray. So there are 8 different colors, right, all found in the brewing section. And those 8 different colors then in conjunction will lead to this many different combinations. All right, how many is it? 28? Is that correct? Yeah, 28 different combinations. So we have, well, you know, we'll make it and we'll see. But we do need the blast furnace. Sorry, not blast furnace. It has a blast furnace up here, right? We need the deep slate furnace. I forget sometimes what multi-block structures are called in my pack. We need some sand, so we'll grab out some normal sand, and then we also need a copper ingot is the item to go with it, right? We go 1, 2, 3, and a copper ingot. And once the sand stacks up, there we go, we get ourselves a copper flask. And using this flask, we can basically bottle this poisonous wax using this multi-block structure. So if we drop it on the lightning rod, right, it will bottle it, and we get ourselves a copper waxing flask, right? Waxing copper flask, so close, which has instant damage 3 if you drink it. Don't drink it, right? It's a reskin potion. But as there, wax coating detonates, which is actually a bad one to show up here, but place in the corresponding inventory slot to activate. Once active, chance on hit to apply its effect. So if we go over to survival starters, we have a whole bunch of new inventory slots, right? And the one we're looking at today is this for the status effects. So basically, you're able to create one of those 28 different waxing copper flasks with the 28 different effects, and you can assign one in the correct inventory slot, and we will gain a particle on our hand to signify that it's active, and whenever we attack something, there's a chance to apply the status effect to them. Now that chance is equal to your luck score, right? So if we go back over here, we grab ourselves our enchanted spyglass. We can currently see that our luck gives us a 15% chance to trigger effects, this being one of those effects. So for instance, we grab out some husk dummies, and we will hop down here where I can't blow my own stuff up, but we will try and hit a husk, and it probably won't take, right? 15% chance. What we can do is go effects, give us luck, right? Infinites, it did take. That's good to know, right? He's glowing, and he should, after a delay, explode. At least that's my understanding of how this used to work. Yep, there we go. Got me as well with it. So yeah, detonate will cause any mob you apply the status effect to detonate. I think actually it's double trigger. So the first time you hit it, it will gain the glow particle effect. And then the second time you hit it, it will be rigged to explode. And then it will explode, hopefully, away from me, right? I mean, we're in creative, can't really do anything. But you know what? No, well, there we go. I'm going back to its timed. I did make these ages ago, but with our current luck, we have a 95% chance to trigger effects, right? So basically every time. But again, there's 28 different ones for us to make, so why don't we just try a different combination and see what it yields. So again, all the plants in the game are grindable, right? We take a torch flower, a lily of the valley, take them to the grinding station. We get some blue, and never mind, I didn't do torch flowers. Scratch that. Yes, I didn't do torch flowers or pitcher pods. Pitcher pods? They do berries? I can't. Yeah, I did do berries. Now I can't remember which plants I have and haven't. I will add torch flowers, I think, to it. But we have red and blue this time, right? So again, we need some honeycomb. So you will have to set up a bee farm. But then we can drop all 3 into the boiling cauldron. We'll get our wax ball combination, and then we can throw that and the bottle, and we get a copper waxing flask with burn this time. Right, so if we have that in the inventory slot instead, we should get a different particle effect, hopefully. Yep, there's fire every now and then. It's much easier to see from the third-person angle. But then if we hit something, right, a couple times just to make sure it sticks, he should have the burn status effect, which will ignite the ground under him and cause a little bit of damage, right? And should go off again and again. They all have different timers depending on the stats effect, right? They all trigger at different intervals, similar to potion effects, and all these obviously do work on the player. There are ways for you to become afflicted with these stats effects, or if in PvP, you can inflict them on other people, right? So yeah, there's 28 in total stats effects. But you might have seen it, the latest update did also add another way to enhance or to cause stats effects. So we take a copper flask, and it is, I think, 8 gunpowder now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, along with, I want to say 3 copper ingots. 1, 2, oh, that's not the way. 3, right? We go 1, that, and that. Yep, perfect. We get ourselves a throwing flask now, a copper throwing flask. So similar, we can now brew our stats effects and throw it onto the wax refinery in order to bottle it. So we'll do one more plant combination, and we'll go with peonies and sunflowers, right? Which should be yellow and pink, yellow and purple, violet, close enough, right? And then also the honeycomb. One more time. Good, it went in. I'll get us a purple or violet yellow combination. I think I have purple as well. Yeah, so yellow and violet. And then you do actually need 3 of them now to fill up a copper throwing flask. The reason for that is basically this is a sure hit way of applying a status effect, which makes it a bit more deadly. It is also worth noting, right? I can't really show it off because it's random. Oh, and never mind, it did get consumed. So after a certain amount of uses, the flasks will actually degrade and you'll have to get a new one. We should have heard like a glass sound effect. I probably wasn't paying attention. But now we have a wax throwing flask which contains life, which sounds good and is kind of good, right? It should do instant health, so it's a nice one to have on yourself, but obviously for husks or zombies or undead, it is bad, right? So if we throw it down, that should have hit both of them, fingers crossed, and they should periodically, again, take damage from the stats effect. Also a particle effect when it does trigger, if it does trigger. And speed this along, just see what your tags are. No, it did not take. What about now? There we go. Alright, so you do have to hit point blank, which is nice, because I was worried that it would be a bit too easy, right? You have a whole cluster, and you'd be able to throw it down and hit them, but it is nice and small. There are ways to enhance both of these though, right? And we should go through that as well. So we have normal versions, and then we have enhanced versions. If we go ahead, and I don't actually have a way, I need to give myself loot. Loot, give us loot, and then it's glossary, jigsaw. Oh, that is not the correct way. No idea what happened there. That sounds interesting. Ah, an elite mob spawned. Luckily it's daytime. We'll not worry about that. Let that be. We go resources. We want ourselves a fragment of growth. We also want a fragment of depth. Yeah, we'll just make a stack of both of these. And then if we grab out one more multi-block structure, the Enchanter's Crucible, which we'll need for later on anyway. We also don't need the gates, which I can't delete. That's kind of annoying. I'll just throw it down here. There we go. So if we throw in the green ones with the waxing flask, I think it's 1-to-1. Yep, there we go. We get ourselves a enchanted waxing copper flask, right? Which will last longer. It will also stack greater, right? I didn't actually show that off, but they only stack to 3, so you can only have 3 in your respective inventory slot. And once they're consumed, obviously they degrade and you'll have to put another one in. But with the throwing flask, if we use the blue fragments, right, we'll get an enchanted throwing flask. So pick it up. And this now does that, right? Forms a lingering cloud, which will then obviously affect multiple things, right? So if we had that cluster again, well, as they get eaten, right, you'd be able to inflict life onto all of them, which will cause periodic damage because they are undead. Not a super amount, but obviously a decent stats effect. You can also apply it to villagers, apply it to yourself, and heal. So maybe it shouldn't be red. There are positive effects that are in green. I might change that to green. But there we go. That is the status effect system in a nutshell. Again, there are 28 different status effects, so a lot to explore and find out through a new, unique, right? I'm allowed to call it unique, brewing system that should hopefully be fun and interesting and spice up your combat a little bit, right? So figure out which ones are the best. And yeah, I mean, with Detonate, you could, do some weird sort of mining where you have a guinea pig mob that you come with you. You breed something on the spot, and then, well, I feel terrible for saying it, but yeah, you place it where you want, and you inflict detonate on it, and then it does your mining for you. Yeah, a lot of other stuff did spawn in this video. Don't worry about it, we'll get to it at some point. But there we go. Status effect and wax brewing is what we'll call it. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.